Hey everybody, welcome back to Allegro Wednesdays, where we tackle the tough stuff so you can run your business like a pro. I'm Brandon, your personal guide to bookkeeping brilliance and tax triumphs, ideally. Today we're going to talk about taxes without tears. Yes, that's right. We're going to dive right into tax season, that time of year where you realize you can't just pay your bills in good vibes and coffee receipts, much as we would like to. Of course, at any time you can comment or message me a question, and I'll stop what I'm doing and answer your question. That's really what I'm here for, is the interaction. Or if you just want to say hi or whatever, that'd be fine too. So let's talk about this now in a broad scheme of things. Why tax prep matters all year round, not just in January or February. So let me paint you a picture. It's April 14th. You're surrounded by crumpled receipts, panicked emails, and snack wrappers. You're praying the IRS forgets you exist. Does this sound familiar? By the way, the IRS will never forget you exist. It might take them a while to find you, but they will find you. So here's the thing. You need to think of taxes as not just a once-a-year thing. Hi, Cheryl. They're a year-round marathon, not a last-minute sprint. So here's a couple of things that you could do to stay organized. You avoid surprise bills and underpayment penalties. Claim every deduction you're legally entitled to. And ultimately, you sleep better at night. And who couldn't use more of that, right? So we're going to break some things down a little bit more to make sure that this tax season is a breeze. Some common tax filing mistakes that we see. Then these are some real horror stories. Hopefully you haven't had anything like this. I'm talking about, say, real common one, mixing business and personal expenses. If you don't get any other thing from my lives here, it's that you should always have separate accounts for your personal finances and your business finances. The IRS won't care that you accidentally bought those concert tickets on your business card. They are sticklers for those kinds of details. Another mistake we see, not tracking mileage. If you drive for your business and you don't track those business miles, you're literally leaving the money right on the road. If it's not documented, as far as the IRS is concerned, it didn't happen. So make sure you're keeping that odometer log in your car. And you just make a note of your odometer readings, the date, total miles, and a brief description of the business purpose of the miles, and that's usually perfectly fine in terms of documentation. Now, the real common mistake we see is forgetting quarterly payments. The IRS isn't like grandma. They are not going to forgive a late birthday card. They want their money on time, and they'll get it. Which of these mistakes have you made? No judgment. We've all been there. Maybe some more than others. It's okay. We learn from mistakes. As long as you learn, that's what's the important part, right? Key tax deadlines and forms, okay? Tax season can be full of this alphabet soup, like W-2s, 1099s, Schedule Cs. Here are a couple of things to help keep it straight. Your quarterly estimated payments. They are due on the 15th of April, June, September, and January. Oh, we just had that January one come up. Hope you didn't forget that one. The 1099 NEC form. If you hired freelancers or independent contractors and you paid them more than $600, you have to get that out to those folks, and legally by the end of January. Now, the IRS will generally give you a grace period of about 2 weeks on that, but it generally is considered good professional practice to make sure your people have their tax forms by the end of January. And don't forget about those W-2s. If you have employees that are not independent contractors, just regular employees, you need to make sure to send them their W-2s also by the end of the month. So that's coming up pretty quick. Here's a pro tip. Set calendar reminders so those deadlines don't sneak up on you. We all forget things. I have all kinds of sticky notes and apps on my phone that tell me where I should be and what I need to be doing half the time. Tax season is a lot less scary when it doesn't catch you off guard. Like that coworker who always shows up unannounced during lunch. I think it was usually me. But, okay. Now, here's where taxes get fun. Let's talk about deductions. It really is fun, trust me. We have the home office deduction. If you work from home, you could write off a portion of your rent or mortgage. And we've discussed the home office deduction in depth in previous weeks. Just make sure that you are deducting in a space that is used primarily for your business activity and exclusively for business activity. So if your business is primarily operated from your home and you don't use it for anything other than business purposes, then you can deduct that space and those home-related expenses as a home office deduction. Certain business meals can be deducted. So if you're buying coffee for the business meeting, that's a 50% on that deduction, but buying coffee for yourself, even if you're going to drink it at work, is not deductible. Sorry. Office supplies, pencils, software, anything that you use in the office that's consumable or that would need to be updated frequently, like software, that also counts as a deduction. And continuing education, generally speaking, if you're keeping up on professional developments and webinars, courses, conferences, those are deductible. So it's really important then that you keep track of things that even seem like they'd be small. And it's good to have a tax professional who can advise you on these things throughout the year and say, well, you know, this is deductible, or no, that's not deductible. It just makes things a little less stressful. Organization. Now, this is going to make your tax season just way easier. And luckily, we have some tools for that. If you have QuickBooks, they have a self-employed version. It's great for tracking income, expenses, and mileage. There's something called Expensify. You can snap a pic of your receipts and boom, recorded. All done. Calendly. I use this one myself on my website, allegrosolutions.net. This isn't technically a tax tool, but it is perfect for scheduling a consultation with me before tax season hits. And the calendar is getting full, so make sure you get that in. Why did that turn off? Well, I'll look into that later. Okay. That's doing it live. Something always happens, right? The goal with all of these different apps that we have now is just to automate some of that boring routine stuff so that you can focus on actually running your business or don't binge watching your favorite show instead of having to worry about tax stuff. So just a couple of simple things that you can do to keep that monkey off your back. All right, let's open up the floor. Do you have any ideas, things that you do to make your tax season go a little bit easier? Let's see. I got some messages here. All right. Wondering how to file taxes if you have multiple income streams. That really depends. If we're talking about different jobs that you get W-2s for, you'll just report, you'll add them all together on Form 1040, and you'll just put those numbers in on the appropriate boxes. If you have 1099 income, you did some freelance work, maybe you got some royalties, if you published anything, or you did some other kind of freelance work on the side, you might have a 1099 form. So you would track those on, depending on exactly the nature of it, it usually goes on Schedule C. And so tracking multiple income streams is just a matter of understanding the source of the income, what kind of revenue it was. Is it business? Is it personal? Self-employment? And this is where your tax pro can come in handy and say, well, you give this to me and I will sort it out for you so that the IRS doesn't become upset. We do not want the IRS becoming upset. Let's see, what else have we got here? Remember, you can comment or chat with me. I've got some other questions here queued up from before. Okay. Says how to handle business losses. Okay, so for business losses, this depends on what kind of business you're running. Uh, Anything that's corporate, like an LLC S corporation or a C corporation, you're going to report your losses on separate business forms that, well, at least in the case of the S corporation, those losses will actually pass through and you can deduct those losses. It's called a net operating loss. Uh, if you're running a strictly pass-through entity, hi Jess, um, you can, again, it's kind of the same thing. You can deduct the business loss. It's just going to be, you're going to go through Schedule C instead of through different kinds of tax forms that corporations will use for their taxation. So that was a good question. What else have we got here? And remember, we can chat afterwards if you want more follow-up on questions. You want more detail, we could certainly do that. All right. So do we have any other questions? We had some good questions there. All right. Well, before we wrap up, let's talk about some steps that you can take. You can download a tax organizer app or at least start a folder on your computer for your 2024 receipts. Not too late to get organized. You can set those quarterly tax reminders. Very simple to do. If you have iPhone or even an Android, there's a calendar app that you can do that. You don't need to get something special even. If tax prep still feels overwhelming, don't panic, just DM me. I offer consultations that make tax season way less stressful. It's what I do. So next week's Allegro Wednesday will be, again, how to make your business run more smoothly. Because running a business shouldn't have to feel like your algebra exam. Thanks for hanging out today. You've got this. And if you don't, I've got your back. See you next Wednesday, everyone. Thanks for joining me.